All right, let's proceed, Mr. Garcia.
Judge, Commissioners, we will proceed as directed by the board and place the real estate items on next week's agenda for formal action by the board for the acquisition.
Any other issues?
No, sir.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. It's 9:22. We got about 8 minutes before we start our other meeting. This morning to this regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, April the 22nd, 2014. Present are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Help us remember that when we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we say one nation under God. And we should all stop and think if we're really doing God's will when we go day to day, whatever we're doing. Dear Lord, we need all kinds of guidance, and we need understanding to be part of what we are and who we are. Sometimes we judge and should not judge, but we do ask you to help us and guide us and lead us and protect us and bless everybody, families and nation, state, county. Bless our leaders. And we ask all of this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Any concerns with the consent agenda, Mr. Eufrasio?
Yes, Judge, I would like to ask that consent agenda item 5A, 8E, and 8F be pulled for discussion.
Move for approval without 5A, 8E, and 8F.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Marty?
Going
On
to,
5A.
I don't know about anyone being here for 5A. I'm going to address 8E.
So no action on 5A then?
No, that's for the district clerk, and I don't have any information on that.
Judge, on item 5A, the monthly report that is attached needs to be revised. It has some errors, so we recommend no action and allow the district clerk to make the corrections.
All right, we'll do it. We'll take it up next week then.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Marty, on 80 and F.
On 8E, it is just a point of information. Our response was that the purchasing department will ask auditor to correct the total and recommend approval subject to the correction of the PO. That was for precinct 2, but it's the PO that is not correct, so we will ask the auditor to correct the PO to reflect it. We recommend approval, subject to that
Move for approval with a
change.
correction.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On 8F, we do concur with the auditor's office. We will ask that this be placed on next week's agenda so that a correction can be made and then approval can be recommended.
All right.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item is under open forum. First presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman.
Morning, ma'am.
Because two litigants are required in a divorce process, when Joe died, the court lost jurisdiction to further litigation in this case. The law is the case must be dismissed. The court retains only the jurisdiction to close the case, to remove the case from control of the court, which, since the court gave no division of or value to our community property and skipped or omitted it from a divorce settlement, returns our community property to us. Joe's death does not leave our community property to the court. A divorce settlement of our community property between Joe and me did not happen. A finalized divorce did not happen. The court did not close the case. The return of our community property did not happen. Examine the court records. The court cannot appoint a manager for our community property, have a corporation certified, and place our community property in the corporation, then use the newly organized and Billman-named corporation to sell land owned by Joe and me. The corporation has no ownership in the community property belonging to Joe and me. By selling our community property through a corporation, Joe and I just get fleeced. There is no difference between that and grand larceny. This case cannot be continued. Not only does the court refuse to dismiss the case, but I have been held in police-enforced false imprisonment for 17 years, which is a crime. The court has no authority to prolong the divorce process for years, allowing it to linger in court so our community property can be sold by the court through a corporation which has no ownership in our community property. Continuance of this case is barratry, which is a crime. Thank you.
Next presenter is Jaime Munoz.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Garcia, I'm here to address you and the Commissioner's Court regarding the election contests that have been filed in this county. As you know, several of them were filed against winning candidates that prevailed in the elections in March. To date, we've taken several depositions where people have had to go and testify under oath regarding the letter that they signed and presented to you and that you used to hold up the electoral process. Not a single one of those individuals that filed the lawsuit had a shred of evidence to support their allegations. They didn't have a shred of evidence on mistakes, on fraud, on irregularities, on manipulated machines, on malfunctioning machines. Not a single shred of evidence. And yet our election process is being held up. Now, you were a former Democratic chair, sir. You should, of all people, take issue with what's happening in these election contests. We were set to go to trial on at least one case this week, and because of Agenda Item 8A, a motion for continuance was filed and granted, holding up a trial. Now, if these individuals had evidence to present to this court or any court of jurisdiction in this county, they should have it, but they don't have it. What Agenda Item 8A does is fund somebody else's election contest. If these individuals had evidence, if these individuals had a basis for their election contest, they should pay for their own examination, Judge and Commissioner's Court. What you're doing is you're funding their election contest, and that's wrong. That's wrong for not only the candidates themselves, but for our county. Our trials should move forward. The election contest should be allowed to go to trial because of Agenda Item 8A, a motion for continuance has been granted once already. And I fear that more continuances are going to be granted. Why, if you want to do an audit of these machines so badly, if you think that there's something there that is so bad that nobody else seems to have any evidence of, why not wait till after the elections? Why not wait till after the runoffs? If there's evidence of wrongdoing, it's going to come up. And if you find the wrongdoing, it'll be there in June or July or August. You don't have to hold up the runoffs. You don't have to hold up the election process for this farce, because that's exactly what it is. It's a circus. It's an abuse of our legal system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next presenter is Eva Garcia.
Buenos días a todos.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre es Eva García. Soy de la organización Lupe. Vengo en representación de la colonia La Curristeis, nada más para dar gracias al señor comisionado Joseph Palacios, porque nos ha hecho varias limpiezas en la colonia y nos ha ayudado mucho. Gracias por todo lo que ha hecho por nosotros. Gracias.
You want to translate
She
that?
asked me to translate. She says, good morning, my name is Eva Garcia with Lupe. She'd like to thank Commissioner Joseph Palacios for all the work in their subdivision. He's done various cleanups, and it's Curry Estates, Precinct 4. Just thank you.
Gracias, señora. Next presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so disappointed with the plans for the new courthouse. I was sorry that Commissioner Precinct 2 appointed me to the committee, and I went to every committee meeting. And what I came out with at the committee, I thought was okay. It was good plans, and it looked like it was going to gel, and it was going to be designed to kind of look like South Texas and kind of be like the museum over there, and we were going to utilize the old courthouse, and there were wonderful plans. It sounded good. We were going to have good, bad, everything, and it was all going to work together. Well, that's not how it came out. And I think it's an ugly building, number one. I do care how things look. So I think it's ugly, but I also think it's impractical with all that glass. After all, this is South Texas. I think it absolutely was not well thought out. And I'm disappointed to the max, absolutely disappointed. To walk out of a committee meeting after all those meetings and say, okay, we came to an understanding, and then come back with something unrecognizable was not acceptable to me. And I'll tell you one thing, it's going to have like, I would say $150 million to $200 million price tag. You try to put that on the taxpayers of this county, the poorest county in Texas, and then you come along with the hospital district that may be pushed on us, and we may have to take it or leave it, and that's another huge tax thing. And then you come along with the drainage district saying, oh, we would just really appreciate being able to have another bond and finishing off our drain projects, which is more tax. There is no way. The people in this county, if they haven't already decided to rebel, they should, because this is ridiculous. Way too many taxes and not well thought out how we're spending the money. Thank you.
Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
Yes, everyone that saw that picture said, oh, we're going to have a hotel by the ocean. That's the way it looked over there. So it'll be called the hotel, not the county courthouse. I got a call that was asking why the county puts up signs on a road. This one is in San Carlos on 107 and 83rd Street. It says they're going to pave it or you're going to fix it or whatever. And it's been up since August, and they just wondered when and if you were ever going to do anything, because the paint is already starting to fade out. And they asked, why do you spend the money to put a sign up on something that's going to be there for months and months and months and not do anything? My second thing is on 7A today. We've got a JP that retired or didn't win the election, I'm not sure, but we're paying almost $600 for them to take a training seminar. Why do they need training seminar if this is the very end? Should they not have gotten that ahead of time? And if that's for the new ones, I don't understand why the taxpayers are paying for it. Today also on 14A, we're going to put someone on the Commuter Rail Committee. And the individual, when I looked on the background, it looks like that's his main job, is to be on committees. He's been on AMO-PO Policy Committee, mobile plans. He's been on committees and councils and panels and organization and committees again. He's been a liaison twice on here. And then he was a co-founder of a company that provides translation services for Enron, Pemex, BP Petroleum, just to name a few here. And as far as I can tell, it's a constant. I don't see anything else that really tells me he's had other jobs other than to be on committees, boards, and things. So my question is, and also, is there a conflict that he is already on the MPO board? Why would this he would be put on this one because they're both together and everything? Why it wouldn't be someone else? And then is brought up, I'm hoping that you're doing the contracts or whatever it is, the policy manual for the county, when someone is a felon, that we have it, that I believe it says now, go back 10 years. If you're a felon, you're a felon, and if you're doing a background check on someone, they have to write down that they are a felon. So why would we not have that in our policy? And then you have on 16A2, we're talking about real estate. And you put in, I see that we only had one response, and it was sold response, and they did not meet the minimum requirement. Who came up with all these requirements of 5 years within the county area, 5 years experience, going down the line? Do we make these so that only certain company or something that could get this job? So we would like you to look at the policies of the county and see if we're doing the right thing. Thank you.
Next presenter is Ramiro Trevino.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner, Senior Administration, ladies and gentlemen. My comments this morning are as follows. With all the recent accounts that our county has had to endure over the situation within the Sheriff's Department, I think we have failed as a county, and obviously you as the elected officials that run this county have to accept our criticism and endure it. I don't know what the answer is, but I will reiterate what I said the last time, that all the red flags were there of how the former sheriff was not on target. And that coinciding with the item 8A today, 2 elections ago in my city, we had our city secretary, elections clerk, have an unidentified person in the counting room at our city hall on election day. We had that person right out through the back door of our city hall. We had getting a picture of him, only a side picture of him. To this day, county election, state election departments have not been able to get city secretary and elections clerk to tell us who that person is. We won the mayor's seat, and we lost the commissioner's seat by 42 and 62 votes. So I don't know if those machines can be tampered with. But what I do know is what happened in my city on election day two elections ago. So item 8A, I believe, is on target. It has to be done so we can get to the root and the foundation and hopefully eradicate some of the problems we have within our political system in Hidalgo County. In getting back to the sheriff's office before I am done, we all had a lot of concerns about the process of naming the interim sheriff. I had the same concerns. But what I do know is that I personally am aware of all the things that the former sheriff was not carrying out that were part of his job description and responsibility. The DIL standards and policies have not been updated since 2002, and that's the sad part. That's just the beginning of everything that is wrong within the sheriff's department. So I don't know if we as a county, as the elected body of Hidalgo County, somebody has to come up with a plan as to how do we keep tabs on the elected officials and them having the full responsibility of carrying out their responsibilities of their job description. So gentlemen, it is you who chose to sit in those chairs, and it is you who have the task of finding the answers to our concerns. Thank you.
All right, item 6, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. There's no action under item 6A, 1 and 2 at this time unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Mr. Palacios, Alex, I'm going to ask Mr. Palacios to give the court an update. There's been quite a bit of activity at the first and second floor administration building over the weekend and yesterday. And so I'll ask Mr. Palacios to give the court the latest update.
County Judge, County Commissioners, good morning to all. Happy belated Easter as well.
Morning, sir.
As we boot up on behalf of the Mr. Aldeguera's office and Prodigy Construction Management, the project is moving forward. And again, we were showing pictures of the first floor and its activity. The trenching continues as we are running. The general contractor is plumbing for electrical and plumbing lines. As you also know, on your right-hand side, the construction site has been kept very clean for a demolition project of this magnitude. Inspection 1, the first floor shows that we are still processing electrical lines underground. We are hanging electrical lines above, as you can see from the air conditioning and the ductwork on the steel structure. The picture on your left-hand side, that picture right there is the one that was open to above. That is now completely covered with steel structural and a metal concrete foundation that is forthcoming on Wednesday. So it does not resemble anything of what you're familiar with of that building. It's taken its own identity now as we move forward. The picture on the right-hand side of the screen is the main entryway where we enter the Commissioner's Court. Any questions on that?
That sewer line that was there, what have you done with it? All right, did you reroute it, or?
Yes, sir. Some of the lines have been rerouted to accommodate the new wall coordination and or have been replaced from the old cast iron to new PVC plumbing in certain areas. Next slide, we show the second floor. As you see on the picture to the left, that is the entire coverage area where the escalator used to be. It is now completely covered, and concrete is expected and coordinated to be this coming Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the morning. The concrete pour, there's some concrete pour that has been on the right-hand side. A lot of the mechanical ductwork is in place, as you can see right above the ceiling. The air conditioning, HVAC as what we know it, is moving very aggressively, and you can see some of the remnants right there. Any questions? Next slide. Judge, you mentioned on the plumbing. This slide will show some areas of the plumbing that have been redirected or rediverted, and as you can see, some of them are changing into CPVC or plastic piping. The contractor is coordinating all those installations, so when we bring in the concrete pour or the concrete pump, as you know, we can't drive in a truck in this area, so we have to pump it from the street, and we will coordinate that. It is a lot of small areas and large areas of concrete that will be poured, and we expect to do that at a one-time shot as it will be cost-effective to the county. I'm sure Commissioner Cuellar understands this, and we are coordinating that. Instead of piecemealing a job, we're planning on doing it all at one shot. Any questions on this slide? Another sample of some of the main artery lines on the plumbing. I know that we walked this particular site with Mr. Guerra. At one point, these lines have been replaced and repaired, sir, that they've been changed from cast iron to CPVC. Any questions on this slide? The air conditioning, or what we know the HVAC for most folks that know it, is that it's aggressively moving. The installation, we have been keeping close tabs with Mr. Guerra's office. There will be some variances on the ceiling heights, only because we have an existing ceiling structure that we cannot modify because it's already in place. So the only alternative is to make adjustments on the ceiling heights in certain areas. We are dropping some, but we are raising others, and we are coordinating as we go. Again, this is a function only because of the mechanical systems that have to be in place, as well as new lines, new electrical runs, etc. Any questions on this slide? Over the Easter holiday, the general contractor, you will see from the picture on the top left, the electrical company installed several electrical new lines to the new switchgear and the emergency generator, and you will see where the entire parking lot in that area between the generator and the building, the main building, were all cut up in order to achieve this task. It took several hours for these men to do, several days, I should say. And they continued, that picture down below on the left-hand side was taken at Saturday night at midnight. As you can see, the electrical contractor and the general, we were still out there trying to plumb and run all the electrical wire lines so we can rest assured that we would have power Monday morning or Tuesday first thing. So they worked on Easter weekend. And as you can see, the final product was completed and finished, as you can see on the right-hand side, where everything was patched, everything was tested, and the new electrical switchgear is up and operational. We coordinated with Mr. Guerra's office to inform him that the switchgear was tested yesterday and power is on. We coordinated with the IT folks with Hidalgo County to make sure that Tuesday morning everything was functional and operational for the top floors above. Any questions on this slide? In general, general walls are going up preparing for the gyp board that's around the corner that is scheduled to be, and again the concrete pour is also scheduled. As you can see, I paid close attention to the cleanliness. It was not staged or it was not coordinated, but this is the type of, we were to walk in there today, you will be able to see that the site is very, very clean. So the general contractor is doing a good job of having the site clean, which is kind of rare for most general construction companies. This is the second floor interiors. As you can see, the metal studs are up. In general purposes, the site is very clean for the amount of demolition that has taken place. Any questions on the second floor? Again, in preparation for the forthcoming concrete pour that is scheduled for Wednesday, we have also coordinated with the testing company, L&G, and we have them on standby for a Wednesday morning 6 a.m. concrete pour. And as you can see, the floor is prepped, ready to go. RFIs have been a constant battle in trying to get responses from the design team. April 2014, today we have 31 RFIs that have been submitted, 27 RFIs have been responded, and only 4 RFIs are currently pending and unanswered. When we are averaging we were averaging 20 to 25 unresponsive RFIs. So we have brought that RFI response to a very, very minimal. And that's important because if the contractor, I guess a week or two ago, he was here because of the RFIs of being non-responsive, but we have clarified and we are moving forward that. And also that's in conjunction working with Mr. Valdeguera's office. A little bit of good news there on the finished hardware. We presented to you that we had initial cost savings in coordination with the general contractor of $98,000. We've been going back and forth. Everything's on task, but we were able to find an additional $1,600 with the hardware and the door frames, increasing the savings for the hardware area of $99,600. It's a small savings, but it's all important. Every penny counts for a project of this magnitude. Any questions on the hardware? And a general overview of the plumbing on the sanitary sewer lines. All the trenches have been covered. The switchgear is in place. As you drive by adjacent to the bank, Capital One, you'll be able to see the good view of the switchgear. The electrical has all been in place. The power restoration was conducted on 4/21 at approximately noontime, and we have a potential pour on this coming Wednesday on the second floor, as you can see on your pictures there. Any questions on that? A snapshot of the timeline of where we are. I kind of tweaked this one a little bit from the last time. From inception to date, the general contractor has accomplished 36%. And I ask you to take yourself back just a tad and look at the pictures of what we've seen and coordinate it with the timeline. He's at 36% completion, demolition, and new construction. From the last pay period to date, on application number 5, he has a difference of 13%. On the upper right-hand corner at the very top, I wanted to include that a balance to finish on the project, excluding retainage, is $2,168,066.70. With retainage and smaller text is $2,003,000. We have approximately 7 months to go. So what does this mean in a nutshell? This means that within 7 months, the county, the owner, we as a team have been putting together our resources, and you currently hold the majority of the money for the work performed. Is he asking or complaining? Mr. Wilson is moving on task and is on schedule, and he's moving aggressively. So basically, for 7 months to go and holding $2.1 million in the kitty, I think we're doing real good. So we do have hiccups, we do have issues that surface and arise, but we're tackling them as we go. And you've been involved with that in the process and approvals. So as you can see, 7 months, 2.1 million. So that's pretty good. Most jobs out there, they're running about 7 months and about $100,000 left, which is not good. That means that the project is out of balance. Here, we're doing real good. Any questions on the timeline?
Keep it up.
And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 7 are JPs.
Judge, I'll go ahead and present that item. Item 7 is for JP Precinct 2, Place 2. This is in accordance with our elected official policy. There is a reimbursement request in the amount of $598.21 that exceeds the expenditure level of $500. These were for travel expenses that were incurred while she attended a training seminar in San Antonio. This occurred during the time frame of March 23rd to 26th of this year. And so, again, in accordance with the elected official exiting policy procedure, Ms. Trevino's requesting the court for reimbursement in the amount of $598.21.
In order, or?
Well, I don't think the policy is, it requires that all of these expenditures be approved prior to
Right.
being incurred.
Right.
That's what the policy says.
Exactly, but in this particular case, I think there was a disconnect with respect to the interpretation of the policy, because she's asking for reimbursement after she took the trip, so she didn't ask for any monies up front. And I believe that in the past, we have had other officials that have taken the trip, they pay for it out of their pocket, come back to the county, and then ask for reimbursement after it's all said and done. Again, I think there was just a disconnect with respect to what the policy said, which is you had to seek approval prior to the travel. Again, I don't think there was any wrongdoing intended, just a disconnect with respect to how she interpreted that policy.
Yeah, but I think, I don't think there's an issue with malintent, but the travel policy requires that a purchase order be secured. The elected official's policy says that before a purchase order can be obtained, Commissioner's Court needs to approve the purchase order. of the
Exactly.
expenditure.
Now, I understand, Mr.
All right.
Professor. I totally understand.
All right.
Again, I can only present what's been asked by the court to present. Again, she's asking for reimbursement against that policy. Again, in this particular case, it exceeded the policy limit by $98.21.
What's your recommendation, Balde?
Well, at this particular time, she provided a service to the county with respect to traveling to the seminar for Hidalgo County.
I'm in favor of reimbursing it, but I would like for you to address I guess, the broader issue of elected officials that are not going to be around.
We have communicated with all the officials that are under this policy at this point. And we also have communicated with Rosa Trevino's office as well with respect to the policy.
And we're coming up with a specific policy addressing that?
I think that the policy is already there. The only issue was the dollar amount, right, Valde?
Right, we addressed the dollar amount with
It's already
respect to the
been
precincts,
adjusted
but I guess what I'm saying is we did address the issue with Ms. Trevino's office, and they understand. Again, I think there was just a disconnect with respect to how they interpreted that policy. But we have addressed it with her office, as well as the other offices that are affected by this policy.
What is our present policy on individuals that have decided not to seek election or were not elected?
The limit on an administrative expenditure is $1,500, $500 for travel. For the precinct, the court said a dollar amount of $7,500 for expenditure, administrative expenditure, operating, and the same $500 travel limit.
But they can
exists.
take these seminars, these trainings, even though they're not going to be in office?
Judge, at this point, the elected...
9 months away. I mean,
Right.
she'll be here for another 9 months.
We have talked to them with respect to the need of any type of training, given that they are not going to be here come next year. Truthfully, Judge, I don't know why Judge Trevino had to attend this seminar. I can only report that she did attend the seminar and she asked for
Well,
reimbursement.
I'm not
of her-
questioning her, I mean, because right now we don't have a policy in
But
place.
we have, I have communicated with the other officials that are under this policy and that are exiting this year with respect to their travel needs.
Is it within our budget, Balde?
Yes, she does have right now $1,413 in her account that can be used towards the reimbursement.
All right, sir.
It isn't what somebody has in their budget. One more time, we're asking for ethics and common sense. We're asking for somebody who isn't going to be there anymore, who doesn't need training, to very nicely say, I'm not going. I'll leave it for the next JP. Anything that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to say, well, I know I'm going out, but I'm going to the training thing anyhow. You really think that taxpayers aren't sitting there saying, they didn't go to the classes, they're probably going for a vacation or something. It's getting up to here, waiting for common sense. But if you don't put it in a policy saying when somebody is not going to be at their post anymore, they don't go to training. If you don't write it down in black and white, it's not going to happen.
Well, if we want to come up with a policy or something, but I think she's going to be here till December 31st, so, you know, I mean, so move for approval.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Balde, if you're going to come up with a policy, get it on the agenda for
Well,
next.
no, Judge, they're already,
Take a look at it. If there's a need to come up
Okay.
with a change of the policy, get it on the agenda for next week.
I'll communicate with the court's offices this week on that item, or on that issue. Judge, Commissioners, if I may, the next item is item 8A. I've been asked at this time to take a no action. There's no need to take any action on this item today.
All right, sir.
And item 9A, there is nothing to report under Health and Human Services for Mr. Olivares. The same for 9B. And so the next action item would be Urban County, Ms. Diana Serna.
Steve, on that issue with the health care funding district, is that being addressed, that those letters that came in from other hospitals and that, you know, that, I'm not sure if we can talk about it in open session.
No.
No, it's not on the agenda, Judge.
No what?
Not on the agenda.
Okay. No, I'm just asking you if it's being addressed. Are we waiting for something to happen?
We are waiting for something to happen.
All right. Indigent healthcare, anything there, Balde?
No action on 9A1 and B1, Balde?
9A, yes, no action under
All right.
8A, 9A1, 9B1. Now we're under item 10 for Ms. Serna.
Item 10, then 10A. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you? Our first item on the agenda is a presentation and approval of a proclamation declaring April 21st through the 26th of 2014 as CDBG Week. And Judge, I have a proclamation I'd like to read because this is a special time. This is our 40th year of CDBG funding, and it's an anniversary, so if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Hidalgo County National Community Development Week. Whereas the week of April 21st to the 25th, 2014 has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program and the Home Investment Partnership Program, HOME program, and whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income people, and whereas the Home Investment Partnership HOME program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, affordable housing opportunities for low and moderate income persons, with over 1 million units of affordable housing completed to date using the home funds. And whereas over the past 5 years, the County of Hidalgo has received a total of $40,654,744 in CDBG funds, and $11,636,854 in home funds. And whereas the County of Hidalgo, through its 18 participating cities and 4 precincts, have expensed their funding on high-priority activities such as street, park, drainage, water and sewer improvements, installation of solar lights, and funding numerous nonprofit organizations providing a service to low and moderate-income residents. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the County of Hidalgo designates a week of April 21st through the 26th, 2014, as National Community Development Week in support of these valuable programs that have made tremendous contributions to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and economic viability of our communities. Be it further resolved that the community urges Congress and the administration to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally by the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership Program by supporting the increased funding for both programs in fiscal year 2015. Approve this the 22nd day of April, 2014.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting the approval to rescind the action taken by Hidalgo County Commissioners Court on April 15, 2014. Item 14E, approving the acquisition of parcel 15. I incorrectly added parcel 15 to the list of parcels recommended by the company.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item C is requesting the approval to rescind the action previously taken by Commissioners Court on March 4, 2014, under item 43222, for the purchase of fire station equipment, which was for a purchase from Wilson Fire Rescue for the Mercedes Fire Department. We received a letter from Wilson Fire Rescue in which they requested that we cancel the purchase order.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item D is requesting the approval of a new internal monitoring policy for the Urban County program. HUD regulations require that we have a policy in place, an internal policy in place, so that we can document how we're going to be doing the monitoring of our subrecipients in our cities. And this policy addresses that we will be doing an annual monitoring review based on risk assessments. So after we use the risk assessment tool, we will identify the highest risk cities and the highest risk nonprofits, and we will do those monitoring reviews. We're recommending approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
10E is requesting approval of the revised Urban County Home Owner Occupied Rehabilitation Policy and authorization to revise as necessary. This policy was reviewed by a legal division, Mr. Steve Crane. Basically, what we're changing is that we currently have a 10-year lien placed on properties belonging to the elderly. We're recommending that the elderly households be provided only with a 5-year lien, that any additional construction requested by any applicant over the eligible construction must be paid in full prior to us beginning the construction project. We're requesting that the contractors have a DUNS number and that the property be under the applicant's name with a clear title. And we're also requesting that any funds maintained by the elderly be changed from $10,000 to $12,500.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item E is also a request for the home program. We're requesting your approval of the revised Home Buyer Assistance Program policy. This was also reviewed by legal.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
10G is approval to amend the Advisory Council bylaws, calling for an annual meeting on when written request is submitted by the chairman. Currently, the policy reads that we would meet monthly. However, there is no activity that requires a monthly meeting. So therefore, at the last Advisory Council meeting, they recommended that we at least meet once annually.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item H is approval of land acquisition of parcels 13, 19, and 24, and 49 for the Delta Area Connector. This is a GLOW project, funding from the General Land Office grant allocated the funding for the East Lateral. So as I said, parcels 19, 24, 49, and 13.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 11, our Elections Office.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Members of the commission. We, both the Democratic Party and a representative of the Republican Party, are here to seek approval for the ballot board members and judges and counting station judges and members. If I could pass around
Yeah, please.
the recommendation.
You're not going to use the same people that we used in a... Okay.
Judge, if I may proceed with the Democratic recommendations.
All right.
For ballot board judge, my recommendation is Kenna Giffen. She's number 2, identified on the Democratic Party recommended names.
All right.
Move for approval.
For the alternate judge, we're nominating Melissa Beal.
Go ahead and do your list because they're next.
She's number 3 on the list.
Do you want us to take them separate? Or,
Judge, I was just going to do them in order as they appear on that, on the list to the right.
are they going to be combined, the early voting ballot board?
We
Why are you,
have both representatives from both the Democratic and Republican Party to serve on ballot board, Your Honor.
Why don't you list them all together?
Okay.
And then if there's any opposition, I guess the court, the judge, or the commissioners can intercede at that point and make recommendations based on everyone you recommended all together.
They do
I think it'd be a
work
lot
separately.
easier.
They do work separately, but the Democrat has, the judge and the alternate judges are Republican, but in a primary, they work separate. They do each other's ballots, not during a general.
but what about the runoff? This is for the runoff, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, Judge.
But they work separate also.
They work separate, yes.
Right.
They work separate for the primary and the runoff.
But why are you putting 4 Rs and 8 Ds on the side?
Again, we needed the numbers, but at the ballot board, they will work separately.
Or you'll have a 4-member Republican committee or 5-member?
Yes.
All right.
8 and 12, I think, is what's being requested.
On the Republican side, it was number 3.
Yes.
Say again. Okay, the Republican alternate judge would be Melissa Beal. And the 4 members would be Fern McClarity, Cruz Quintana, Ruth Bostic, and Ian Bowen.
Yeah.
And for the Democratic Party,
Just a minute, please.
Yes, Judge.
I don't want to leave anybody out here. All right, thank you.
for the Democratic Party ballot board members, the recommendations are Alma Vera, Jordan Gonzalez, Patrick Aronini, Tito Salinas, Lázaro Cardenas, Peter Salinas,
Who was that one?
Peter Salinas, Julio Garza Jr., and Kaylee Garcia.
Haley,
Kaylee.
all right.
For Central Counting Station, the recommendation for judge is Aaron Alonso.
The alternate judge is Kevin Ramsey. The first member is Denny Church. And the second member is Robert Burnham.
All right.
And for the Democratic members, Catherine Hearn and J.P. Olivan.
All right. Any questions from the court? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve all these
Move for approval.
recommended members to the ballot board and the central counting station.
Who was the alternate judge for the Republican on the Central County?
What's his
Kevin Ramsey.
All right, thanks.
Second.
Denny Church. Second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Item 12, our planning.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Raul Singh, Planning Administrator. First item on the agenda is preliminary approval of variance request amendment to subdivision precinct 3. It's a residential development located northwest part of the county in precinct 3. They're requesting a variance from our subdivision requirements to not have a temporary turnaround in the middle of the road. It's about 1,300 feet. Traditionally, we require a turnaround. However, since this is going to be a continuation to the south at the furthest most west point, there was no objection from my office. The advisory board also recommended approval, granting the variance. Aside from that, all the other items have also been addressed and been submitted to the various county departments, and it's been recommended for preliminary approval, so to any future comments before receiving final. So we are recommending approval.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
The next two is preliminary approval of Marley Subdivision Precinct 3 and Annalee Subdivision Precinct 3. Again, those both developments have also been submitted to the various county departments. Issues, everything has been addressed. The advisory board is recommending preliminary approval, and my office also recommended preliminary approval subject to any future comments before addressing any future comments before receiving final approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 3 would be final approval of Terry Palm subdivision. This is a 5-lot subdivision located in Precinct 4. It has gone through the city of Edinburgh and has been approved by the city. It's also been approved by the various county departments, and the advisory board and my office is also recommending final approval. Everything's in order for final approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
El Ramadero, final approval, financial guarantee, El Ramadero subdivision. It's a 3-lot, single-family development, and it has, again, been approved by the city of Edinburgh. It's been approved by the various county departments, and they are requesting a approval financial guarantee for 3 septic tanks in the amount of $4,500. Advisory board is recommending approval, in my office as well. Everything's in order.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, reimbursement financial guarantee. First item is Las Estrellas number 1. They're requesting a reimbursement in the amount of $6,000 for the installation of septic tanks. Leaves a balance of $15,000 in the account. We do have the letter from health for that reimbursement. Everything's in order.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Las Estrellas Phase 2, they're seeking reimbursement in the amount of $1,500 for the installation of 1 septic tank. We also have that letter from health. Everything's in order.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Las Estrellas Phase 3, they're seeking the reimbursement amount of $4,500 for the installation of 3 septic tanks, leaving a balance of $16,500. We have the letter from health, everything's in order.
What was that, Joe? 2,500?
4,500 is the balance. I mean, 45 is the request, yes, sir. 16,500 would be the balance left in the cash.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Last item is Las Estrellas number 4 subdivision. They're seeking the reimbursement in the amount of $10,500 for the installation of septic tanks, leaving a balance remaining of $27,000, and everything's in order for that release.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item 13, Precinct 1.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Martin Ramirez couldn't be here, but he worked on these items with TCEQ. This is for the acceptance and approval of the agreed order 2014-0248 MWDE from Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
Move for approval.
And need approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries
And
unanimously.
number 2 is requesting approval of the payment of $1,800 to TCEQ for the agreed order 2014-0248 MWDE with authority for county treasurer to issue check after review and auditing procedures are completed by the county auditor.
Move for approval.
And this will clear our findings at the collection station, collection site.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Sorry Martin isn't here, but he needs to be congratulated here for
Doing a good job.
doing an excellent job. Great job. All right. Item 14, Precinct 2.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, under item 14 for Precinct 2, Commissioner Palacios. First action item is appointment of Mr. Andrew Cannon to the Hidalgo County Commuter Rail District. There is an attached resume on the backup for the agenda. And again, Commissioner Palacios is asking the court for his appointment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item B is the consideration approval to purchase a certain tract of land, also known as parcel 4 and 5, which is a Minnesota drainage project. Again, both parcel 4 and 5 information is attached to the agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Item 15, Budget.
Morning, Judge Commissioner Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 15A1 is approval of 2014 interdepartmental transfer from Road and Bridge Countywide Administration, Program 30, to Precinct Number 3, Program 106, in the amount of $390,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 15A2 is approval to issue check payable to the City of Mission, which is the fiduciary agent as per the interlocal agreement, in the amount of $390,000 for Hidalgo County's contribution towards the Taylor Road Improvement Project, as per the interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of McAllen, City of Mission, Hidalgo County, with authority for the county treasurer to issue check after review and processing procedures are completed by the county auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 16, Purchasing.
Yes, good morning, Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. Item 16A1, we're recommending, the recommendation by Grading Committee for Commissioners Court to reject proposals received on 3/19/14 in connection with financial advisory services, as it is in the best interest of Hidalgo County to attract and encourage more participation by qualified and interested firms, including the re-advertisement of the project with modified notices, including approval of the complete packet, which is attached here too.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 2A is approval to reject sole response received in connection with RFP Real Estate Broker Services for Hidalgo County with authority to re-advertise.
For approval.
Second.
We did send
Those in-
out about 9 packets, but we only received 1. We did have a call late that afternoon, Monday or Tuesday before it was received, of a firm in Austin, but they wanted it to be rescheduled, but we didn't have any indication from the court that they would permit it. So
Have you changed the requirements?
we have tweaked them a bit.
Good.
on
All right.
recommendations from the committee.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries
B
unanimously.
is exactly to that point, Judge, acceptance and approval of the recommended changes by the Evaluation Committee to the procurement requirements as detailed in the email attached here too.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
And on item C, approval of the same, to keep the same selected designated evaluation committee.
Move for approval.
Second.
And who are they, Marty?
Oh, dear. I know there's Erica from your office.
Well, actually, who's being represented? The entire court's being represented?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, the whole court is represented.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 3 is presentation of the lowest and best bid received from the most responsible vendor as detailed in the tabulation sheet contained herein, meeting all specifications and requirements for the purpose of award and approval of contract. This is for SS1 Emulsified Asphalt and Delivery Services to Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions Incorporated.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 4A, this is requesting clarification and correction to Agenda Item 20245 on 10/25/2011 to reflect term of agreement was erroneously captioned as 1 year when it was under a by-board cooperative contract which automatically renews unless we terminate, and we had not terminated. I'd like that
Move for approval.
correction made, please.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item B is ratification by Hidalgo County Commissioners Court of annual renewal of Superior Alarms through by-board contract 32509 from 10/26/12 through 4/14/24. And if I may make a correction, that'll be through today, 4/22/14.
Move for approval.
Second.
What are we doing, Marty? Again, I'm sorry.
We have a contract back in 11 that we put down on the caption as good for 1 year. But in reality, the contract under the by-board, which we're our members and we participate in, is an annual agreement. What happened once that 1 year lapsed, auditor's office stopped paying the
I
bills.
understand. Okay.
Okay?
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
And item C is approval to continue services provided through Superior Alarms through by-board contract. Now the number is 40112.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Going on to item D, acceptance of approval to process invoices for the following elected offices or department. That is the John Austin Pena Primary Care and Substantial Abuse Treatment Facility and Precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 5A is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A7AD. And this is for a sole source declaration.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is acceptance and approval of a sole source declaration with Taser International, Taser brand products of Texas for the purchase of products and/or services commencing with the Fire Marshal's Office through requisition number 251213 in the amount of $7,299.69 for the purchase of equipment and services, with this sole declaration remaining in place until it is revoked by Commissioners Court.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B1 for Precinct 2, approval of the following requisition listed for operating expenses exceeding $7,500. This is Valley Boulevard Road project with Frontera Materials, $32,016. That's the asphalt for the road project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 2 is requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization 10 with estimated cost of $29,7150 as submitted by Millennium Engineering Group, contract number 185 for construction materials testing services for Valley Boulevard Road project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C1 for the Sheriff's Office, acceptance and approval of the final negotiated contract with Dr. Marin Garza for professional physician services for Hidalgo County inmates.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I thought Ivan Melendez was also there.
No, Dr. Melendez, actually, we're putting it out again because only one doctor submitted. We need two. at the sheriff's office, and we only had one submission. Dr. Melendez is the medical director for the Health and Human Services Department.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to participate in this, but that
Yes,
is what
ma'am.
he's currently doing. Item 2 is acceptance and approval as submitted by Captain Richard Osuna from the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office for Motorola Change Order 2 request to delete all remaining mobile radio programming and installation services with exception of 25 mobile radios and add 4 APX 7500 dual band encrypted consolettes, including the programming and installation, which has no fiscal impact on this agenda item and/or terms in the amount of the lease purchase agreement approved on October 23rd of 2012 through the HGAC contract, and the county assigned contract is 270. There is a concern through the auditor's office that the auditor nor have we in purchasing received a list of those pieces of equipment. I just got off the phone with Captain Osuna. He was going to be making contact with Ms. Becky Luna at the auditor's office and likewise copying us on the list of that equipment. So we would ask that you approve, subject to that list being received.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
And the last item is for IT. This is acceptance and approval of a previously approved 40 hours technical support renewal approved on 2/26/13 to reflect the additional 12 hours is expanded by the IT department as necessary and required but not included in the original statement of work through membership and participation with the DIR Department Information Resources contract.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The vendor there, just for the record, is Insight Public Sector Incorporated. Thank you, that is all I have.
At this time, entertain a motion to proceed to executive session pursuant to 551 and 071 and 072 of the Texas Government Code.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. It's 10:40.
Okay.
Move for approval?
Second.
$30, you said?
Yes.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Judge, just in case that it didn't catch, let me just go over that real quick again. Item 18A, there was no action, will proceed as directed under real estate. Item 18B, pending potential litigation, there was no action. Item 18C, the court gave me authority to make a settlement offer in the amount of $30 in the claim of Israel Mena. And at this time, there's no need to go back into closed or open session 19 and 20.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you,
Judge
Judge.
Commissioners.